Okay, lesson 10. Read often these 10 preparatory lessons to fit thee for the great work and for the receiving of higher things, for more pure thou art in heart and mind. By so much quicker shall you perceive those high secrets we teach, and which are entirely hid from the discernment of the vicious and depraved, because it never can happen that such a source of treasure can be attained merely to satisfy our more gross earthly and vain desires and inclinations, because here nothing must be thought to be grasped or wrested out of this book, but to the fulfilling of a good and end and purpose. Damn, that's tough. When thou shalt have so far purified thy heart, as we have spoken, is indispensably necessary for the receiving of every good thing, thou shalt then see with other eyes than thou dost at present. Thy spiritual eye will be opened, and thou shalt read man as plain as thou wilt our books. But for all this, depend not on the strength of thy own wisdom, for even then, when we think our hearts secure, if we do not watch them that they sleep not, the devil or his ministers immediately take us at this unguarded moment, and tempts us into the actual commission of some sin or other. Either he excites our appetite for lust and concupiscence, or any other deadly sin. Therefore, using our blessed Redeemer's words, what I say unto you, I say unto you all, watch. Perhaps, I do not doubt, but there are some that will say, when they look at our works, this fellow is all rant, all preaching. He tells us what we knew before all well as himself. To such I say, let them read our book but twice. If they do not gather something that they will acknowledge precious, nay, be convinced that it is precious to their own satisfaction, I will burn these writings, and they shall be no more remembered by me. To conclude this part, we say that the first matter, prima materia, Adam brought with him out of paradise and left it as an inheritance to us, his successors. Had he remained in his original purity, he would have been permitted to have used it himself. But the eternal Siat was past. Fiat. The eternal fiat was passed, that he was to earn his bread by the sweat of his brow. Therefore, he could not effect what was afterwards performed by some of his offspring. Hermes Trismegistus, the ancient philosopher, wrote touching the attainment of this stone, which he pronounced to be of all benefit to man, and one of the greatest blessings he could possess. And although his writings contain much of the excellency of truth, being wrapped up in such symbolical figures, it renders them exceedingly difficult to be understood. Yet, if comprehended, they no doubt contain some very great secrets by which mortal man may profit. Now, it belongs to our purpose to know what it is from which we must extract the first matter of the stone to go on with our process, because we must have materials to work upon. For all philosophers agree that, the first matter being found, we may proceed without much difficulty. For the first matter I shall speak as plainly as possible. First, the grand question in debate is, where is it to be found? I say it is to be found in ourselves. We all possess this first matter. From the beggar to the king, every mother's son carries it about him. And could our ingenious chemists but find a process for the extracting, how well would all their labors be repaid? The next question naturally comes thus: how are we to draw or attract the secret matter of the stone out of ourselves? Not by any common means, and yet it is to be drawn into very action, and that by the most simple means, and in a manner that is that the attaining of the philosopher's stone would very soon follow it. I pray you, my friends, look into thyself, and endeavor to find out in what part of thy composition is the prima materia of the lapis philosophorum, or out of what part of thy substance can the first matter of our stone be drawn out. Thou sayest that it? Yeah. Sayest, it must either be in their hair, sweat, or excrement. I say, in none of these, but thou shalt ever be able to find it, and yet thou shalt find it in thyself. Many great philosophers and chemists whom I have the pleasure to know affirm that, admitting of the possibility of transmutation, i.e., the first matter, must be taken from the purest gold. To this I say it must not, neither has it anything at all to do with extrinsical gold. They will say then that the pure ends of gold may be drawn from gold itself. True, it may so, but then I would ask if they would ever produce more gold than that out of which the soul or essence was extracted. If they have indeed found out a secret beyond the powers of our comprehension, because it is against reason to suppose that if a pound of gold yields a drachm of the soul or essence, that that only will tinge any more than a pound of purified lead, or whatever that symbol is, because we have tried various experiments, and I have, in some of my first essays, turned both lead and mercury into gold, but no more than that out of which the soul was extracted. But, however, not to lose our time in vain and ridiculous disputation, know that whatever prodigious things our experiments have been tried with respect to the first matter by external subjects, either in the mineral, animal, or vegetable kingdoms, as they are called, I say in us is the power of all wonderful things which the Supreme Creator has, of his infinite mercy, implanted in our souls. Out of her is to be extracted the first matter, the true argent vive, the little symbol again of the philosophers, the true ends of viz., of spiritual living gold, of waterish mercury or first matter, which, by maturated, is capable of transmuting 1,000 points of impure metal into good and perfect gold, which endure fire, test, and couple.